Hello and welcome to my video all about how to make super puffy paint using shaving foam. Puffy paint is a great alternative to normal paint, especially for kids, because it adds such a fun and interesting 3D texture to their artwork. This recipe allows you to make particularly chunky effects, and it's really fun to do. One of the most popular recipes for puffy paint uses just shaving foam and glue. However, in this recipe we're going to add plain flour as well to make it super chunky and also to make sure it sets. Okay, so what do you need to make it? Well, as I've mentioned before, you need some PVA glue and also some plain or all-purpose flour. You'll also need some kind of container or bowl to mix everything together in, as well as some kind of spoon or stirring stick. You'll also need a measuring cup or jug, some shaving foam, not gel, squeezy bottles such as this glue bottle that I've reused, or Ziploc or grip seal bags. You'll need one bag or one squeezy bottle per colour of paint that you want to make. And if you're going to use Ziploc bags rather than squeezy bottles to paint with, you'll also need some scissors and also maybe some sellotape. You'll also need some liquid food colourings and something to paint on, for instance, coloured card or paper plates. And finally, you'll either need weighing scales or a cup measure. Right, so to begin, we first measure out 3/4 of a cup of shaving foam, or around 180 millilitres. It's very difficult to accurately measure shaving foam, so just do your best, but it might be more of a guesstimation. Once you've done that, you then need to measure out 1/4 of a cup of white PVA glue, or around 60 millilitres. You then pour this into the foam and mix it together. Throughout this recipe, the idea is to keep as much air in the foam as possible, so try not to over-mix it and try not to stir it too quickly or aggressively. You want to keep as much air in the paint as possible so it won't go flat. You then measure out 1/4 of a cup of plain or all-purpose flour, or around 32 grams. Then add this to the mixture and stir. Looking at the mixture now, it looks too floury and too dry. So at this point, you need to sort of balance out all of the ingredients to make the right consistency. Because the mixture is stiff and dry, it needs more moisture to become smoother. So I'm going to add a couple of squirts of foam and stir that in. Because I'm only making one colour of paint, I'm also going to mix in my liquid food colouring. If you're planning to make more than one colour of paint, then don't add your colour just yet. If you need to make your mixture drier or less runny, then you can add more flour. If you need to make it puffier and smoother, then you need to add shaving foam. And if you want it to be runnier, you can add a bit more PVA glue as well. Okay, so I think I'll stop there. You basically want a consistency that's quite stiff because it needs to hold its shape once you put it onto the card or paper. However, you also want it to be runny enough to be able to be piped out of a bag or a bottle. If you've ever iced a cake, that's pretty much the consistency that you're aiming for. This consistency that I've got here is quite a stiff paste, and I wouldn't recommend that you make a mixture any stiffer than this. Once you've finished your mixture, you can then split it between different containers if you want to make more than one colour of paint. You then add a different food colouring to each of these containers and mix it in. You can then transfer the mixture into squeezy bottles or into grip seal or Ziploc bags. I'm going to use a grip seal bag, as you can see here. So you simply fill up the bag or the bottle with the paint, and in the case of the bag, you use scissors to cut off a corner, like so. The smaller the corner you cut off the bag, the finer your painted lines will be. Definitely make sure that the bag is completely sealed, and preferably add tape along the top of the bag just to make doubly sure. Then just squeeze the bottle or the bag to apply the paint to the card. Once you've finished painting, you can then leave the paint to dry. This will take at least an hour or two. And when it is dry, it will look like this. And as you can see, it dries to a foamy texture that you can squash flat, which is quite satisfying to do. And that's it, that's how you make puffy paint with shaving foam. I really hope you have fun with this recipe, and thank you very much for watching.